Sue Skasky with Vermont Volunteer Services for Animals Humane Society, and welcome to our show, For the Animals. Today we have a reoccurring guest. You should co-host this.
I really should.
Heather Bent from Potter's Angels Rescue, and Heather and her group of volunteers do phenomenal work. But I'll let Heather tell you about that. And most recently, she had the opportunity of a lifetime to go see a wonderful person whom I'm sure you all know or have heard of, Cesar Millan. And so Heather's here to talk about that. Thank you so much, Heather, for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
For people who might not have met you before, can you just give a little bit of your background and what you do?
Sure. Yeah, we run Potter's Angels Rescue. Was established in 2010. We started actually in 2008, but we were official as of 2010. We've been doing this now for 4 years, and now we are actually looking at creating our own facility. So that's what my visit to Cesar's was about, to see how his dog psychology center was set up and run.
And that's in California?
That's in California, yeah.
What part of California?
Santa Clarita, or Valencia, that area.
Is that north, south?
South, that's near LA. Yeah, about an hour north of LA or so. Yeah. And that was very exciting. I learned a lot from there, and from there I've been able to establish a building plan. We have a spot that we've purchased in Braintree, Vermont.
Oh, good. Not too far from here.
Yeah, not too far. And
it's good because it's centralized pretty much.
Yeah, it's kind of in central Vermont. It's about 15 minutes off the interstate, off the Randolph exit. And it's 10.5 acres of land, and we plan on building a pretty large establishment there that's going to be focused on the rehabilitation and creating a balanced atmosphere for the dogs to really excel in and get adopted much quicker.
How would it be different than one of the shelters in the state now?
Well, we're focusing on the dog's needs, their exercise and physical requirements, as well as their mental stimulation and stuff like that. So they'll be very well-balanced pack. Instead of, say, being just kenneled and going kind of stir crazy, they'll be getting fulfilled mentally and physically.
And that's one of the beauties of what Potter's Angels Rescue does. Right now you have a group of volunteers who take dogs into their homes versus going into a shelter, which is so... Right. I mean, thank God we've got shelters, but...
Occasionally we have to board them, and we don't like to do that because, number one, it's costly, but number two, the dogs go downhill pretty quickly. And then it's hard to get them out because they're so pent up, and and they really need some time to decompress, and people often don't give them enough time before they give up on them.
You've got to think, what it's like coming from a household situation, or worse yet, which maybe isn't worse, to be taken away from outside kenneling or chained or whatever, to go into a shelter where all of a sudden you're in a cage, and hopefully you'll get the attention that you need, but it's not like a home setting. That's why...
No, and the stress level and anxiety level is so high in there. They obviously, lots of animals are killed there, and they know that while they're there. So it's a really, really stressful place for a dog to be. And then, so when they come out of there, they don't really know what to expect. And without the people to give them guidance and boundaries, they can unravel pretty quickly, or have negative occurrences where they wouldn't have if the people were better trained and knew what they were doing. My group of volunteers, they've learned more and more through the years, and I've got a really great group of people that do very well with the dogs.
Yeah. We did a show not too long ago. In fact, we want to do a follow-up, a rescue of a black lab.
Yes.
And has that turned out well?
That turned out wonderfully.
Yes. Oh,
she was adopted, and now she's in her forever home.
That's
so
great.
She's doing very well,
Yeah, I'd like to get a follow-up on that, because we just last week did her story, and we're doing some works in progress. So she's on our list to do.
Awesome.
So tell me about Cesar's place.
Well, it's very, very large and very peaceful. Wonderful. They focus a lot on keeping everyone calm and the energy in the area. They focus on just being in the moment, and and learning how to read a dog's, not just body movements, but also their energy, and to read them correctly. So therefore, you're working with them in a way that makes sense to the dog.
Now, this was a week-long session,
Yeah,
and some people paid,
yeah.
and you were fortunate to be.
A volunteer.
That's
Yeah,
great. How
yeah.
many volunteers were there?
There was 14 of us.
And how many people actually took the class?
There must have been around, 30 or 40 people that took the class.
You
by
know,
group.
when we brought Caesar to Vermont back 2 years ago,
Yeah,
maybe that's when you
that
first
was
met
2
him.
years ago.
Okay. I had called around to different places to see if anybody wanted to lend their dogs at shelters. And I was really surprised that some people, not a lot, but some people had misconceptions about Caesar.
And
Which
it's
really
true.
blew me away because the man is incredible
He is.
in that he, instead of automatically giving a dog a kill sentence,
Yeah.
he will work with their problems.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's actually one of the big battles I face in working with trainers. They're also quick to shut out Caesar's methods, and I think it's mostly due to, the media base and them following the moments on TV that are really critiqued and criticized of Caesar's. But we have to keep in mind, those are really hard case dogs that most trainers here would suggest to euthanize.
Heather, I've never
And he's
seen,
working with them.
but I've never seen anything on TV that I felt offensive.
They think he's too aggressive in approach with dogs, and it's the exact opposite, actually. And if people actually knew his entire training approach, they would not be so judgmental. And the problem is they're really closing their minds and not allowing themselves to expand and become better trainers. He really understands the dog. He works with him. The whole time I was at the facility, I did not once see him touch a dog or do an alpha roll with a dog, which is so publicized, and and people are all anti-Caesar because of his alpha rolls or his kicks, as they call them, and they're really just touches to redirect the
Sure,
dog.
the energy,
Yes.
attention. Dogs are
It's
pack
not a
animals.
kick, but
No, it's like,
it's blown way out of proportion. He's very, very talented, and he promotes being peaceful and calm with the dog, not aggressive with the dog.
you could
Right.
never have an aggressive person be a leader of a pack
Right.
without, and be successful.
Right, exactly. The reason why Caesar's so successful is because his energy is so balanced. We had daily meditation sessions that we had to do because it's really about focusing on the inner you to really be able to communicate best with dogs.
So, okay, tell me what a day would be like.
So in the morning we go for the big pack walk. We'd walk all the dogs and
Now,
together.
Are these his dogs that live at
Some
the
of them were
ranch?
his. Some of the students brought dogs of their own, but some of them were from far away as like New Zealand or Sweden, and
Oh,
yeah, and
love
so they didn't all have their own dogs. So they used dogs at the center, and we all went on this big pack walk, and he was teaching us like how to walk a pack of dogs, really. And then when we got back, it would be usually seminars and training seminars. He would speak in front of the entire class and answer any questions. And he was quite comical, funny.
He is a
He's
funny
a
guy.
funny guy.
yeah. Well, watching his show up in Burlington, he was
Yeah,
a riot.
yeah.
He had the audience wrapped up in stitches.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
one of the classes that you talked about, speaking dog.
Yeah.
What is speaking dog?
Well, it's really about learning about how to read the dog's energy by combining not just their body language, but their intention. And figuring out what those two together, they combine and they are what the energy of the dog is.
Okay.
And so working with the dog's energy and allowing them, like when they're uncomfortable, instead of pressing them forward, you wait, get them to a relaxed state and then proceed. And
Well, that on his show, one of the things I learned is exercise, exercise, exercise.
exercise is a big part. It's also, too, though, it is physically exhausting a dog is important, but so is mentally exhausting a dog, which he does there through many different things. He's got a dog pool, a dog pond, a sheep herding area. He's also got all kinds of different animals. He had Lorenzo, the llama there, because some dogs actually communicate best with other breeds, species of animals.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Talk more about that.
He was telling us about a dog that he had that would not eat its food. And I don't know how he found this out, but he brought her to the horses, and she would eat with them, but she wouldn't eat with other dogs. The only way he could get her to eat was around horses. I guess that's where she felt most comfortable with their energy.
I wonder if she was feeling challenged by the other dogs.
Maybe. I'm not really sure. But that was one of the interesting stories he told me. And also, in working with like a llama, we all like kind of back up and give them our space instead of claiming our space. So that was kind of one of the lessons too, is claiming your space, which you need to do with dogs too, and not letting them overtake you. And so it was a good example of how we let animals, we kind of back off and we give them our space.
So
and
is
then
that good or bad?
The dominant. Huh?
What should it be? We give them our space, or we don't?
No, we don't.
You
We
move
claim
in.
our space. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and that goes along with what he said about posture.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, somebody critiqued me once, my dog. She used to, every time we'd open the door, my dog was through the door before I was.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's like, well, she's
Yeah.
happy to be home.
Yeah.
No, but like, little things like
Yeah.
that.
Little things can go a very long way.
Yeah.
With dogs. Yeah.
You were talking about swimming and sheep herding. That
Yes.
you did that with dogs. Tell
That
me
was
about
awesome. Well, the pool exercise that we did was about teaching the dogs to go in a pool. Some of these had real fears of water. And so it was interesting to watch him because he knew when to wait just to the right time to proceed a little bit closer. And he has a ramp that goes into the pool.
Uh-huh.
And so, but you've got to let them proceed when they're in a calm state. You can't force them to do something too soon. And but at the same time, you need to give them a little nudge to do. And then they start swimming. And then and of course, Holly, who is a big publicity thing, anti-Caesar thing, because Holly was a dog that actually bit Caesar on one of his shows.
I don't remember that dog. What kind was it?
She's a yellow lab. And she had severe food aggression is what it was. And he actually talked about this in his seminars. And, everyone makes mistakes. I can't imagine mine all being televised and picked apart in slow motion.
Sure.
Dogs move so quick and they change so quick in their minds. And she's now living at the psychology center. She was in a home with children, so she was deemed obviously too dangerous to stay there. And so she went, and she's now living at the psychology center, and she was one of the dogs helping the other dogs. She loved the pool.
Really?
So she was
yeah,
jumping
sure.
in around them and swimming and climbing out, and yeah, she's a happy girl.
So it's a psychology center. When we see him on television, is that where he's walking across the land with a pack of dogs?
Maybe. Yeah, I don't actually watch a lot of his TV shows, believe it or not.
We don't get it anymore.
I've read a lot of his books, and that's where I really clicked with him. I have watched some of his TV shows. I do
Yeah.
get a lot of neat little tidbits from all of them every time I watch them.
Did you have any one-on-one with him when you were there?
No, I didn't because I was a volunteer. So there was, that was for the students, but that was okay with me. I learned just as much, and I did get to chat with him about a rehab center, though, and tell him about that. And so he gave me some advice on that too. And
So do we have him coming to Vermont?
I am going to get him to Vermont.
You should get him on your board.
He's going to be. I don't know about that, but he is. I want him to open us.
Yeah.
Be a guest speaker for when we open.
Ooh, that would be a great idea.
So that's definitely in my mind.
Yeah, because in Burlington, he packed the place.
Yeah.
There are over 900 people.
Yeah.
And now that you've got the inside number.
Yeah.
Some other things we talked about, rehabilitation versus euthanasia. I know that his line used to be that he trains people and rehabilitates dogs.
Dogs, right.
So do you think we're too quick to euthanize?
Oh, absolutely. We're euthanizing dogs that aren't even, aren't even behaviorally challenging at all. I mean, we're euthanizing very healthy and happy animals, and then there's ones with just small little ticks that need a stable environment to fix, and that's really all they need. And obviously, regardless of the size of the dog or the type of the dog, if it's bitten someone or a kid, it gets euthanized at our shelters.
I know.
And we don't take into account or care about circumstances or whether the people dropping them off are lying about it to make themselves look better for dropping their dog off at a shelter.
That's a good point.
So that's why we evaluate our dog. We don't go off what people say, because a dog's ability to change like this in the right environment, it never ceases to amaze me.
Absolutely. I woke up this morning and I watched a show, The Cat from Hell. And in the 2 episodes, they gave some great advice, but they had a tortie. And I have a tortie, and I know that torties can be, like any cat, I suppose, but the ears back, the hissing.
Yeah.
And they turned that cat around by teaching it to play, realizing it had a medical issue that hadn't been addressed, and putting it on medicine. And 6 weeks later, this cat was a new cat.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, I don't do cats, so I would not know the first thing about training a cat. But
Does Caesar use medication for any animals, do you know?
I don't think so. No. And in fact, when we were talking about that, because you know how there's so many anti-seizure people, and there's a lot of people that do positive reinforcement only, and that's what they believe in. And he also believes in that can be successful a lot of times, but it doesn't generally work with aggression. It just strictly positive reinforcement. And their steps are, if that doesn't work, then they isolate. So they're not fixing the problem, they're just saying, okay, these 2 dogs don't get along, so now you separate them, rotate them for the rest of their lives, instead of fixing the dogs, because dogs that are fighting each other are not stable, happy dogs.
Right.
And so that's their next step. If just the positive reinforcement doesn't work, they isolate. If that doesn't work, they medicate. And if that doesn't work, then they euthanize. So all these people that are putting Caesar down for his methods of training, which are not really training, it's just understanding the dog, and therefore we're becoming more knowledgeable. These people would euthanize most of the dogs that Caesar works with and fixes.
Sure.
So I just think it's very close-minded society that we're really shutting this guy out and not giving him any credit for what he can do, because obviously he does some amazing work.
Yeah.
And to just discredit that over like 2 videos, and TV shows are all about the drama and the worst case scenarios, and so of course that's what they're going to show.
Again, I've never seen anything.
Well, even so, there's so many good ones on there that don't where he doesn't even need to touch a dog.
Yeah.
And they're so focused on how aggressive and dominant he is, and it's not what he is. It's not. They're basing their opinions on small little tidbits from the media. I can guarantee you they haven't read his book. They don't understand his entire approach to what he does. And, to just disregard that, I think, is ignorant.
Well, obviously, if this man is in control of a pack of different breed dogs, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then, too, you and I were talking about the fact that some breed of dogs excel in one area and some in another. And if you're expecting one dog to do something totally out of character for his breed,
right?
You want to talk about that a little?
Well, actually, yeah. I've had some. I think dogs are such individuals. I hate to characterize anything by breed, but as we know, terriers, they're generally brought up as vermin hunters. They're very tenacious. Very stubborn and strong-willed, whereas herding breeds are, that's what they do. They herd animals, and that's their natural instinct to do.
Exactly. Okay,
So,
let's pick a cattle dog.
Yeah. Naturally, their instinct is to herd. So, in a home, you might see them nipping the kids and getting them in line and saying, you belong over here.
Right.
But if you really give them a chance to excel at what they do, and he has a sheep herding clinic that he did, and it was amazing. There were dogs like Chihuahuas and Shih Tzus having a blast and herding these sheep, and I was like,
really?
Yeah, he even had a Doberman, and they don't, typically they don't love, bully breeds doing that work because they're more bred to take down an animal than to
Right.
hurt it. And so for the bully breeds, I found another thing that they do, which is locating vermin in barns. They've got a whole sport of it now, where they put rats in these PVC tubes with big holes in them, and they hide them throughout the barn in hay. And the dogs hunt through and use their noses, and what they're naturally bred to do is be a terrier.
Does he hurt the rat?
No.
Oh, good.
That's it. That's the part that I said, how do they do this without killing a bunch of rats?
The rats don't appreciate it very much.
They probably don't love it. Yeah, no. But it is taking the dog's natural instincts and using them to mentally fulfill them,
Mm-hmm.
and making them therefore a more balanced dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me things that I haven't asked yet that would be great to share about the place.
Well, I guess the main thing was that I was there for 5 days, and it was like the most peaceful 5 days I've ever had. It was very relaxing, the atmosphere was, and I learned so much. And also, no matter how long I keep doing this, every time I meet him, I feel like an idiot. I'm so far behind what he is. They're so great there.
Mm-hmm.
That it's really
How many in his staff?
overwhelming. Let's see, he had he has a couple of trainers there, a few trainers, and then a woman who actually runs a psychology center while he's gone doing his things.
Is he still going around the world?
Yeah.
And the new show is called what? It used to be The Dog Whisperer.
Training Caesar's Way, maybe?
Leader of the Pack,
Oh, is that what it's
right?
called?
I'm pretty sure that that's what it, because it went off our television lineup.
Yeah.
But we loved watching him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really got a lot to teach if people would just open their minds and consider that, stop taking these little tiny pieces of what they've seen on television. I mean, it's really no different than, pit bulls getting discriminated against because the media is blasting them. And that's why it frustrates me, because these people should know better
And
than to just throw someone under the bus like this. That's just ridiculous.
And pits are, as I've said before, one of the most loyal, gentle breeds.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very loving to the
Mm-hmm.
people that they love, and they should be socialized from the get-go.
And that's the
you
thing,
know.
is they need to be well socialized. I mean, they're harder when they're adults and they haven't had that socialization at the right age when they're young puppies. And that's our biggest problem with when we get pit bulls. By that time, we've got to work on dog-dog interactions or
Right.
stuff like that a lot.
Dog-dog interaction with the dog, my pit that I had, was the only issue.
Mm-hmm.
But this poor dog had been neglected. He had been abused. He was an alcoholic
Yeah.
when we first got him, and he had never been socialized. But you know what? Over time, they're so smart. They're so sensitive.
They can learn.
They learn, and
Yeah.
just the will to learn. And I just think the ability to love
Yeah.
and be loved,
Yeah.
it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
So tell me, okay, with what you're going to build,
Yes.
what's it going to look like?
Well, okay, so I actually have a pretty clear idea of what we're doing here now. We're going to have a main office area that you walk into, and then we're going to have a kennel area. One of the big things I did learn about Caesars that changed my building plan was that I was going to have these big, rooms for the dogs,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it was more like living in a house than being kennel.
Right.
But that actually increases the anxiety levels and the neuroses. Our dogs will be getting fulfilled physically with 2 pack walks a day, 5 miles, and mentally with agility sessions, and then eventually sheep herding and the barn trials, which we're going to eventually add in. But
I
to
don't know
start
what that
off,
is.
we'll have agility.
What's a barn trial?
Well, I'm talking about the terrier, finding the little
Oh.
rats and stuff like that. We're going to also have a chicken coop, which will, so we can socialize them better with a lot of different animals
Mm-hmm.
there at our place.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, so the kennels are not going to be that big, but then at the top floor will be a big open agility area. So it's going to be inside, so we can do it all year round.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. So, do you have events coming up? I mean, this has got to cost. Yeah, I'm sure. Do you have events coming up that?
We actually are currently looking for an events coordinator because I was doing the events, but right now I'm focused on the building plan and getting the people we need to get started on that. So we really need an events coordinator in here. We do have a grant writer that's going to start working for us as soon as I get the building plan done. So that's kind of my primary focus right now. And then we'll start promoting it hopefully on the news and in the local paper and stuff once we have it, all our ducks in a row, so to speak.
I think
And we're
that's
also
great.
going to have vet on site too.
That's
in the
wonderful.
facility. Yeah, we're going to have a surgery area. We've already got a local vet that has offered to come and do all of our vet at low cost, so that will be a huge,
Sure.
huge expense saved right there.
Heather, I'm so happy for you and your volunteers.
Yeah,
How many volunteers do you have on board now?
100 and I think it's around 150 almost.
I want your email address. That's great though, but that speaks of the work you all do.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
they're really
and
great people.
Really, to take an animal into a home and to give the love and the attention, that makes all the difference in the world.
Mhm.
My hat's off to
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, so, and to be in touch with you, to volunteer or to help, how would people get a hold of you?
Sure, they can go to our website's the best way. info@pottersangelsrescue.org is the main email there. Or go into our website. You can check everything out. You can fill out a foster application or a volunteer application at pottersangelsrescue.org. And that's the best way to start with us. And we get right on those volunteer applications and foster
And
applications.
to also hopefully place a dog.
Oh yeah. Obviously the dogs for adoption are up on our website as well as our Facebook page.
So thank you very much for watching For the Animals, and please join us again next week. And we will be showing a follow-up of that black lab and the happy ending, thanks to Potter's Angels.
Thanks.
Thanks very much.
At dusk, there came a turning. There was a moment when all was known. You could feel